Hello my friends and welcome to episode 13 of our Football Manager 2020 Beta Let's Play. This episode we're going to have no gameplay. We are at the first game that I'm going to record for this season, being the first Champions League qualifier. However, we're not going to show that this episode. What I decided, the end of the last episode I'd done an end of season review and I thought let's try a season preview transfer roundup. I used to do a transfer roundup, but having a season preview as well and built with that would shorten this episode rather than doing transfer review and two episodes and then two games in one episode, rather than just having the review, season preview. That sort of makes up about an episode and it attracts different kinds of people. I know some of you don't watch games, some of you won't watch this, so I respect those that want to watch both types of videos and I try and cater for both going forward. This is something that obviously I'm experimenting with, so give me any sort of feedback in the comment section down below. Would be absolutely great because it would mean that I can tailor this more for you. When I watch content, I tend to watch the games, so that's what I've always done. But I want to make sure that everyone who wants to watch a Rangers series in Football Manager does that. And with my main series, there's going to be a lot more to it than the one club situation. So developing everything around it as well, which I'll go into more with that series. So I need to have a bit of practice for that. So you guys give me all the feedback you can, good or bad, would be absolutely great. Also continue to give me feedback on the audio situation, because again I'm trying to work on that, not just for Football Manager content, but for content in general on the channel. I want to do. One thing that I did forget to do in the last episode I'm going to do here is there were still some staff changes going on at the end of last season, still some going on now, and I'm going to continue that development, but I feel this is a good time to come in and say this is what we've done at the end of last season, this is what we've done at this season. So we're starting with staff changes because I would forget to do it otherwise. So the last thing you guys seen was two guys coming in. Since there, David Sawanik was a scout, he's left, he's gone. We brought in Tisanko Tisvetanov. He is a scout who is very familiar with Bulgaria, Kazakhstan, but he's got decent stats as well, and he's got some knowledge of France. So, he covers very, very good areas in general. Former coach and assistant manager at Astana, who are in Kazakhstan. And he's not been a scout for a very long time, since he was at Levski in Bulgaria, but he's had a fairly decent career since then as assistant manager and coaches, but now he's a scout with us. We also brought in Yilmaz Brul, a Turkish scout. Again, gets us more knowledge of different areas, but also keeps us going. He was a scout previously at Bursaspor, but he came in as a free transfer for us. We brought in Kevin Hunt as well as a scout from Fleetwood, and Simon Cooper is on our 18s coach. Now I did actually try and bring a few under 18s coaches in. The problem was, we didn't actually need any under 18s coaches. We had an under 18s assistant manager that we needed, and reserves coaching staff, and I mistook that. And then eventually, I think for the assistant manager I went for, it said you've got not enough money to do it. He had a contract and I'd already used my transfer budget. And then that's something that hadn't happened in previous FMs. So that's something that's happening this year, is when you pay the staff compensation, it comes out of your transfer budget. And at that point I decided, you know what, I'd rather have a better choice when we've sold some players, freed up a bit of wages, freed up a bit of transfer budget, and then rebuild the coaching side, because playing staff for me is just as important as non-playing staff. But the playing staff is the ones that's going to get you sacked or fired. The non-playing staff will not do that. So this year we've continued that change, and as you see, we've got Billy Kirkwood's left. He was the loan manager, but as you see, stat-wise for a loan manager, is decent, not great. The guy we've brought in is a regen, never been at a club before, but is really good. Not maybe necessarily the most realistic signing. Craig Flanagan was a sports scientist. His contract was going up anyway, but we got rid of him. I said at the end of the last season that sports science was obviously an issue that we needed to improve. Jordan Milsom also leaving. He wasn't quite good enough. In fact, for a head of sports science, 8. It's just not good enough. I'd rather have him as a physio, but again, he's still probably not quite good enough for what we could get. That's something I do need to go and review. Colin Stewart, his contract was expired. We've got his dad in the club again. And in truth, I would bring him back as an under 18s goalkeeping coach again, but he's just not quite good enough, I don't think, for the level of goalkeeper that we need to produce for Glasgow Rangers. So I've decided to let him go. I think he can develop into a top goalkeeping coach. You know, we've got good goalkeepers coming for the youth side that he will have coached. Alec Chamberlain unfortunately left for Spurs. I tried to keep him. He was an under-18s goalkeeping coach, but Spurs came in, offered him the same role across there, paid him big wages, and he wanted to go. And Graham Stevenson, who was a data analyst, his contract was up and I just decided to let him go. So Pedro Balbuena comes in as low manager. Now look at the stats here. Got very good knowledge of Spain, being Spanish obviously. He's developing that knowledge of Scotland. And he should get some knowledge of England as well. Now, he's obviously got no history, so it's not the most realistic, but much like your head of youth development, I will always pick based on stats. And this lad's stats are off the scale. For £1.9 thousand a week, you know what? I'll probably just keep him until he retires or we end his save, which will probably be more likely to come first. Unless obviously a big team comes in for him. Now I've taken him off the dealing with the loans just now, and there's a reason for that I will go into later in this episode. So he's not actually doing his job just now. Right now he's just getting paid a wage, but it's something that's a bit of an issue that I have found. George Turner comes in as a sports scientist with 17. Thomas Bertles comes in from Paderborn in Germany as our assistant manager for the reserve side. He will be helping out Billy Davis, who is linked with moves away. We brought Adamov in from Rapid Austria Vienna, rather. Better not get them too mixed up, as a scout. Craig McPherson in as an under-18s assistant manager from Ayr. I think he came down. Was he free or was he? He was a free agent, but he was at Ayr last season. But he's came in to do that job. I think he'll do a very good job assisting Billy Davis down there. We've got Rennie Barrivo, an English regen, as head of sports science, who's very good. This is slightly more realistic. You know, he's 28. Chances are he's just came out of university or something. I think, you know, if I was a football club, bringing people out of university is not always a bad option for roles like this. If he's got a decent degree, which I assume he would, with his 18, I mean, I don't know what degree you need for a head of sports science, but, you know, it's still decent. And then we've brought in another scout, Christoph, from Austria Vienna as well. So 2 scouts in from Austria Vienna coming in. Now, as you can see from our reserve staff, we still need to do quite a bit of work here, and I will be doing that. And very similar with our youth staff situation down there. Again, I'll be working on that. But again, we've got lots of options to go here. We do actually have, if we go into our overview here, a goalkeeping coach down here with actually Andy Gorham. Again, he's not necessarily the best in the world, but you know what? He's a legend. I am keeping him. So that covers the staff situation. There's still going to be big changes, you know, if we go into our staff here. Big changes still to come there as well. I'll be looking at absolutely everything. Still, sports science, we're not quite good enough, but we're maxed out, and these were the best options that we could realistically get. We're over on our data analyst, so I need to go through all that at some point as well. And our scouts, we've got the best of what we can get. Not going to get a technical director because I see no real need to, unless I just get them to do the youth stuff, which is maybe an option, but it means paying somebody else to do a job that I'm fairly content in doing myself. So if we go back to transfers, now ignore all that. I'm going to in fact block all that out in editing if I remember. If I don't, please don't go back and pause, because you will see stuff that I'm not quite ready to announce yet. As you can see, there's anyone fill in at the end of last season, Aarons and Polster. So no, I'm sure I mentioned that Polster left to Montreal Impact, but no, nobody filling in there. Lots of business either way. Total of £34 million out, 14 million in. If we go to finances real quick, and again I'll need to block that out when I go back. In fact, no, I won't. I can just click the back one. We've got 7 million in the transfer budget. We had, I think, 140,000 to start off with. Now we only get 70% of that made available to us, so that's how that has changed. Wage budget is 117,000, so that's actually gone up. But sorry, the wage budget's gone up, but what we're currently spending stayed about the same. Committee spending slightly higher because we've made a couple of bits, obviously. So, you know, money-wise, we're doing okay. We've got 17 million in the bank and potential for Champions League this season. And I think as long, and I've said it before, as long as we maintain an in and out approach, with Rangers, you can get some massive budgets with Rangers. At the end of 19, I think I was given a budget from the board of around £250 million, and I was still grudging paying £12 million for a fully developed Baptiste Mayer. You've seen how good he is. Not developed last season, on loan, and I was grudging paying £12 million for him developed with a £250 million budget, because I get so engrossed, and I absolutely love, and I'm going to explain how I do my transfer market in a separate series at some point, but I absolutely love the buy, sell, replace, and so forth, and you sort of, I call it a revolving door. You have, those little revolving doors that have three sides. I always like to have that, and the open one's obviously what's happening each time. Selling obviously be the smallest door, if they were lopsided. So, on the outs, first of all, Robbie Fraser's away to Hearts. He wasn't really good enough for us. He's never going to be good enough for us. Went on a free transfer, I'm not going to argue it. Matt Yates similar, Kyle McClellan similar to Aberdeen. First big sale, West Brom. Now, there's a story behind this. We've got 5.25 million, and I think there might be some add-ons there as well, for John Flanagan. Now, obviously last year he played 15 games, but 12 of them off the bench. It's not really light breaking. Initially, I accepted a bid for 1.5 million from West Brom, and it was the same add-ons. And we got a bid for Ryan Kent of 10 million. Ryan Kent was worth 5 million at the time, and I stalled it. I waited a couple of days and I went, do you know what, I'll go and accept that bid. And his value was 10 million, and I'm like, but he was valued 5 million when that bid came in, so I rejected that bid. And it made me go, oh, the season's now finished, because I think the bid came in just before the Aberdeen game. Let me go and check Flanagan's, and he was now valued at 4.5 million. So I rejected the offered him back out, but I removed the asking price. And clubs came in, negotiated them, and West Brom offered 5.25 million. So I'm going to highlight to you guys, when you're watching this, be careful when you offer players out or get bids at the end of the season, and when the season finishes, go and review their value again, because that is massively important. Jordan Archer leaves from Middlesbrough for 650,000. Again, I think there's some add-ons here. I just didn't think he was going to be good enough. It was good to have that option as a goalkeeper who was going to be here after Alan McGregor, that was experienced. I just felt it was too much of a risk to keep him around. Cashing him in, and I think, are we paying some wages towards this as well? I think we might be. No, we're not. No, yes we are. £725 a week. It's not overly bad. Scott Arfield away to Huddersfield for 4.8 million. I'm a bit disappointed with this deal. I kind of felt like we could have got 6 or 7 million, but the interest wasn't there. The big issue with Arfield was his wage demand, as you see, he's on 10 grand a week at Huddersfield, which for a Premiership club, if Huddersfield are still Premiership, they got relegated, wouldn't be an issue. But the reality is he's probably a Championship player now. He wasn't getting games with us, and I was happy to sell really to get him off the wage budget. Greg Stewart away to Hibs for 2.2 million. Now, Hibs have spent a lot of money this summer. I do not know where they're getting this money. I'm going to actually have a look at their transfer history probably during this video, because you're going to see they gave us a lot of money. 2.2 million, decent wage as well for Greg Stewart. I liked him. He had a very good season for us last year. 13 games. No, that was for Hearts. 28 games for us. 26 of them as starts. 6 goals and 4 assists in that time. But he was probably one of our better performers before Baptiste Mayer came, and we obviously loaned him to Hearts for £80,000. So we got decent money for him. Overall, we probably made about 2.7, 2.8 million over the last sort of 6 months for Greg Stewart, but I'd rather sell him now. We got a decent price from Hibs. I'm fairly happy with that price, and it worked out. George Edmundson away to Derby for 1.3 million. To be honest, again, I felt we could have got more if we could have given him the game time. He only got 9 games last season, some of them off the bench from memory. One off the bench and 3 in the cup. But I just felt when I looked at him, he had the potential, but I felt he was too old. He needed to get game time. I wasn't really too content with loaning him out, because I feel we could bring in players with 1.3 million that are going to be at equal ability and probably younger is what my thought process was. So I just decided to get rid of him. Jamie Murphy away to Hull for 2.6 million. Are we paying any of the wages towards it? Yes, we are. £5,500 a week we're paying him. But that's a chunk off the wage bill, to be honest. I just wanted to get off. He was on a decent wage. And 2.6 million is decent. McMaster, Akerpoint, McPake, Coleman, Thompson, McKee, Kelly, Wright, Middleton, Mabudi, and Finlayson. Kennedy, Young Combs, McCausland, McKinnon, Maxwell, McDonald, Devine, McCluskey, Bradley, all the way on free loans, paying some wages at various clubs. Now that we've got that out of the way, we don't need to worry about them. Glenn Kamara away to Reading for £10 million. Now, Kamara is a player who I wanted to develop. I felt if we could have developed him, we could have maybe got 15, 20, 25 million. But the end of last season, I felt, he's not going to get the game time. He's got a Costa ahead of him. He's not going to play in the box-to-box role because stat-wise, he just doesn't match the stats for that. Can't finish, can't long shot, anything like that. He's better as a passer or a defensive-minded player. So I wasn't going to throw him in box-to-box. So he's got a Costa, Jack, and pretty much anyone else ahead of him in that deep line advanced playmaker role, which again is not natural. He's only got free flair, so necessarily doesn't suit our system. Felt it was the right time to cash in. We managed to get 10 million for him, which is a very, very good price, and I'm pretty sure we've got some add-ons for that as well, and that allowed us to really go into the transfer market and make things work. Jordan Jones away to Hull for 2.7 million. They're buying another winger from us. Was it Hull that bought Jamie Murphy? Yes, it was. So they've bought two wingers from us and sent us £5 million. Again, last year we brought Jordan Jones in on a free, and I was actually really impressed with him. But this year I just felt he wasn't quite there what we needed, so I've decided to sell. Brandon Barker away to Hearts for 1.1 million. Again, probably could have got more. But selling it at a Scottish club's always good, because if they go and do well in Europe, which I don't think they're in this season, that helps us out. And in general, I think he wasn't good enough for us. He wasn't going to get the game time. This is where Hibs don't know what they're doing. I tried to sell Rolando Aarons, worth 7 million. We could have made a really, really quick profit on him, but there was not even a nibble, not even the slightest nibble. But we've got Hibs paying us £100,000 a month and all his wages. So that's a saving for us. Well, we're getting 1.2 million for it over the course of a year, and it's not quite a year, so to call it maybe $1 million that we get for them having him for a year. Plus, we save £40,000 a month. So again, that's another £500,000. So this is £1.5 million deal for us. He'll go there, he'll play games, hopefully keep his value similar. Can't play against us, so that's great. So Hibs are weakened when they play us compared to when they play Celtic, Aberdeen, Hearts. So he takes points off everyone else, keeps points against us. It's great. It's a really, really good deal for the club, and I don't understand how Hibs have the ability to give us 2.2 million for a right winger that they'll probably play in the middle, and then another 1 million plus 10 grand a week. And Greg Stewart wasn't on small wages either. I do not know where Hibs have got this money, so we're going to have a quick look at their transfer history. 2 frees out. They've spent 3.6 million. Granted, most of that came to us, but they've brought Jack Hamwick as well. So they've done business, but I just don't understand where Hibs get that kind of money from. Greg Rucker away to Reading for 2.2 million. There is reasoning behind this based on the ends, but I felt this year for him to develop and become a player that we could sell for big money, he had to get games, and I just felt he wasn't going to be quite good enough unless Aribo went as well as Arfield. So I felt it was the right time to sell. He's already worth 6 million at Reading, who are in the Championship. No, they got promoted, so they're in the Premier League. So he's not going to get games there anyway. Pretty sure there's maybe some add-ons here, but I felt it was the right time to sell and get him off the wage bill, and hopefully goes on and has a good career. But I didn't want to stand in the way of him having a good career, and I didn't want his value to drop at this end. Stephen Davis also away for a couple £100,000. He was on big wages, and I did get my cut back to keep him in for an extra year, and I regretted that decision. Thankfully, I think the amount that we got, 450,000 rising to 550, depending on a couple of things, made it just about worthwhile. I think we made about a 300,000 profit on it, plus obviously the 5,000 that we saved every week since he signed that deal. But I don't know what his agent fee was, and that's what I can't remember. And you can't really find that out. So I am regretting that decision to renew his contract, but I think it's worked out okay. He's away to South Korea. On the ends of which there is a lot, and some of these are youth players, some of these are guys that are going to be in sort of rotation options and whatnot. And this, by the way, the length of this video, by the way, is why I've done it this way. 20 minutes already. Stephen O'Donnell comes in on a free transfer for Kilmarnock. His contract was up. We needed a backup right back. You know, we had Flanagan last year, we had Hutton, Hickey Hun play there, but he's seen it against Celtic in the first game against Celtic last season. He maybe isn't quite ready for that, and he seems to play better on the left, so I'll keep him as a backup for Barisic, should we keep Barisic for the entire window, because there's bids coming in now for the bigger players. Everyone in the FM Rangers group said to me it's so hard to keep players after the first season, and I've only had one toys out of the pram so far, which I'll go into later on, but I knew that we needed to have a right back in. We weren't going to renew Hutton's contract. We've seen Alan McGregor degrading, and you know, Stephen O'Donnell is he is a poor man's Tavernier basically if we compare them. As you can see, fairly similar. Actually, O'Donnell's a lot better defending, Tavernier's a lot better going forward, but everything else is sort of a mix and match. Walker Faranet, 1.1 million rising at 1.7, already valued at 5 million. 22-year-old Venezuelan international. Now my scouts picked him up, and since I've spoke to a few other people, a lot of people have told me they've used this guy now. He did have 5-star potential when I arranged the deal. He's now got 4-star. My scouts have obviously disagreed, but everyone that's used this guy has highlighted to me how good he is. So I'm excited to use him. He's going to be our first choice goalkeeper this year. He's already got 138 senior appearances at the age of 22, plus 34 caps for Venezuela. Granted, not the biggest league in the world, and granted, I assume, well, Venezuela and Colombia, you know, certainly Colombia is not the worst league in the world. You know, but what a signing he is. We brought in Eamon Brophy for 625,000. I felt that we needed backup strikers. You know, last year at the centre back half, partly because I forgot to cancel Defoe's loan, we had McPake, who's now out on loan, getting game time in the SPFL, which is good. He'll probably play in the wrong position for us, unfortunately, which is rather annoying, but he'll play as a shadow striker at least. So he's out on loan. Defoe's away back. Mohamed Kurpit's away back. I felt it was so important we got strikers in. Eamon Brophy, you know, he's not the best, not the worst. He scored a hat-trick in pre-season, but he's a Scotland international. He was fairly cheap. I think he was worth the risk. Boards aren't too happy with the wages, but I think that's okay. John Souttar comes in for £5 million. I'm anticipating losing Goldson, and John Souttar's just a natural replacement for him. Scottish, got potential to grow. You know, very, very good player. One that I would sign in real life, to be honest. Does have some issues with injuries in real life. I'm not sure if that will flag up here. It's not on the cons, so I'll call that good. But whether that be there, so reports. Medical. Injury susceptibility below average, so that's, you know, pretty good. But it strengthens the defence quite a lot now. We did bring in Mavrampos again for a second season. Conor Gallagher comes in on loan as a sort of backup box-to-box midfielder, but he's quite natural at that. You know, he can play anywhere across the midfield. So he's backup, $5,000 a week from Chelsea. Harry Wilson on loan from Liverpool. This is a big one, and do you know what? By the time that I sort of started to talk about this deal, I'd already signed a few wingers that hadn't arrived yet. But I felt that we cannot be turning down someone of Harry Wilson's quality on a loan. What's his contract with Liverpool? So, you know, even as Liverpool, well, he's got another couple of years. But, you know, if they decide to sell him at the end of next season, we can hopefully get him onto our favourite personnel list and whatnot. Favourite club, favourite personnel. And he would be much more willing to come to Rangers in those circumstances for much, much lower wages. That's something that I abused a lot in past football managers. David Turnbull, direct replacement for Kamara. What a player. Just look at this stat. 16 technique, 17 penalty taking, 16 passing. He's got the flair that Kamara didn't have. Composure, anticipation, you know. Physically, I look at his stats and I go, he'd be a great box-to-box midfielder. Now, don't get me wrong, he's a very good advanced playmaker, but he'd be a great box-to-box midfielder apart from his physicals. Now, I'm working on those physicals, but I think his advanced playmaker is where he's going to sort of sit. We've brought in Albin Thaki as a free transfer. He's in the reserve side to develop. I can't remember if he was someone my scouts found or if it was one of the agents. There's a few guys that agents came in and I brought him in on loan, and then on trial rather, and then signed him. I can't remember if Thaki was one of them or one of the guys that I've brought in off a scout recommendation. But truthfully, 4-star potential. I think it's worth the risk on a free. Angel Gomez comes in. Now, how much did I spend on him? 3.1 million rising to 4.1. Does not have a work permit. And I feel so stupid for this because it said in the bottom corner, gave him 5.25 grand a week and he should get a work permit. And I gave him 3.8. Now he's not got a work permit. And this is why Barbosa got taken off the dealing with the loans initially. Was Angel Gomez. I tried to loan him out and a couple of clubs came back to me and said, we're not wanting to pay those wages if you offer him out for less. So I just went, do you know what, I want him to go out, get games, get a work permit, have him for free. About 15, 16 clubs came in, offered that, and he rejected every single one of them. Despite me offering him out for that price, he rejected them because it did not meet his value. So I've taken him off and I've offered him out again. Right now we have, a decent number of bids still. Did put some teams off, but it's a decent number of bids. We'll hopefully get a work permit for him in the future because I think he's going to be something special. Stilianos Kovakis, another young, now he was definitely scouts that found him. He's another young left back. He's in the reserves just now, but again he'll provide backup. And basically it means that we've now got Hickey and him and Acre Point for when we lose Barisic, so we shouldn't be desperate to replace him. Ricardo Kishna comes in on a free transfer. He's a left winger. I see him more on the right as an inside forward. And that's where I'm going to use him. He's got the stats for it. He's not quite the best at the shooting side, but everything else is there or thereabouts. He's actually better than Kent as an inside forward stat-wise. And that tells you why I kind of got him. We've got Vlad Duchel in for 51,000 from Sparta Prague. 21-year-old backup striker just now with potential to grow. Lewis McLeod returns on a free transfer. He's going to be a backup, but again, decent box-to-box midfielder. Could probably hold his own in an advanced playmaker role if needed. But, he's just kind of there right now to fill in. We don't have a lot of homegrown talent from the club over the age of 21. So it's an extra number in our European squads, is kind of what I was thinking there. And then we've got Sergic Tigula. He comes in also on a free transfer from memory from Atletico Madrid B. Decent player, currently in the reserves, will develop, but again, I see him as an inside forward on the right, which is where he is training. And hopefully, where Billy Davis will play him. Adrian Hunu, valued at £8 million already, and on a free from Rennes, where he's played 86 times, 21 games last year, only 3 goals, which is worrying. He's not a natural finisher. But again, we needed a backup from Morelos. Wages a bit more than what I wanted to pay for that, but there wasn't a lot of cheap strikers available with goal scoring pedigree. Pedro Chervela. Now, my scouts recommended this guy 5 or 6 times, and I kept ignoring him. And eventually, I think it was his agent came and went, do you know what, I'd really like to come to the club. And I went, do you know what, maybe wage-wise then it's not going to be a bad deal. So £6,000 a week. Free transfer. It's contracted to 2025, which is more than the board really recommends, but I like to have guys like this. They come in young, have a bit of time to develop, might not work out, but I like to have them on long contracts so you get more money when you sell them. And he will be a ball-winning midfielder backup, sort of for McCrory, and rotate with Rossiter. Vitello Pargini, another inside forward on the left, similar to Kent, but I think can develop past Kent. Unfortunately, he's 24. That potential that some of my scouts were saying not showing up there now, but he's pretty decent. Unfortunately, he's came and he's broke his foot. He's played 2 pre-season friendlies and broke his foot. Unfortunately for us, valued at 2.5 million. He's came from Torino, 127 games in his career, but now's the time for him to come and make a name for himself. should he get fit. Unfortunately for him, he's obviously got a few guys ahead of him, and now he's not getting a chance. Afani Amada, now this guy was definitely an agent that came to me and said, the guy wants to come to your club. And I went, right, here, have a trial. PSG said yes, and we snapped him up. £900 a week, decent prospect as a ball-winning midfielder, and even anchor is pretty solid at. But he can't develop. He's 18 still. Determination may be a bit of an issue, but it's a free transfer worth the risk. And then Dirk Proper, I misread his name when I first signed him and thought the R was a C. He comes in, he can play just about anywhere across the midfield, but I see him, if it lets me go down, very much as a box to box, which is where I'm going to play him and train him. And again, he was an agent that came to me formerly at NEC in the Eredivisie, where he had some game time, but that 18 determination really appealed to me if he can develop. I think he scored in pre-season as well in his debut, or his pre-season debut, so I'm excited to see how he gets on. That's it for transfers. We obviously got Mavarampos and Batista Mayer, who's also injured, in on loan from last season, renewed. And here's a slight concern. We had an offer from, I'm still private personnel, which is kind of good, Wolves. And I negotiated it. They said they weren't going to negotiate, and Tavernier came to me and said, do you know what, I really would have liked that move. And I said, do you know what, I think the offer was about 13 million, something like that. And I said, do you know what, see if you get a bid for 16.5 million, I'll accept it. And that was after a couple of negotiations. Originally I was trying to hold out for 20, but I'll accept it because, he's a captain. The last person in the team that you want to annoy is the club captain. And he went, okay. And then I think there was another team that made a bid. They're not on this list anymore. They made a bid of 11 million. With a couple of add-ons, it took it up to about 13 million. I rejected it, and then he goes, you promised you would sell me. I'm like, well, yeah, I did. For 16 million. Not 11. So he's irritated, we've got interest. This guy's on trial. I'm not going to sign him. He's got decent potential. But we've got just so many other young goalkeepers, to be honest, that I don't think it's worth it. Nikola Katic is wanted by a number of teams. We've had bids for him from China and Marseille, none even close to value. Jordan Rossiter's got some interest, but we're not going to sell him. Proper's got interest, but just for loans, as you'd expect. Aribo is unhappy because he wants a new contract, which probably actually, given his wage, is probably fair enough. I'm just a tight sausage, so until it kicks off, he's not getting a new deal. Ryan Kent no longer has any interest, thankfully. And the other one is Alfredo Morelos, who is wanted by Marseille, was wanted by Schalke, who've made a couple of bids as well, and China, who haven't made a bid yet. But there's been in and out bids from both Schalke and Marseille, but none of them so far have breached 20 million, so not even worth discussing. And to be fair to Morelos, he hasn't complained. No concerns. Loves me. Who cares? That kind of works for me. And was there interest? Where is Goldson? Because I want to double check that there's not any interest in Goldson anymore, but there was no bid yet for him. So hopefully we can keep a hold of our key players. We've got a fairly large squad, so I've covered off if we lose some of these guys, I think. Certainly Goldson's very well covered if we lose him. Katic reasonably well covered. Obviously got 3 goalkeepers this year. I think we just let McGregor sort of just see out his career now, to be honest. And he doesn't play. Competitions wise, Club Vision, we'll click on, and this is what we're expected. So, we're expected to work within the wage budget. Smash in. Sign under 23 players. Why are they devastated? I do not understand why you're devastated with this. I've not signed many players over that age. They're satisfied that I've signed players, developing players through this youth system, but they're devastated at this. And actually, when I clicked on transfers, manager performance transfers, they did highlight that if I can find Suter. Where are you, John Suter? It's not saying it now, But it did say he was an A+ just when I was last on the game. And it highlighted that he was under 23. Yeah, now it is 23. Has he just hit 23? No. He's been 23 for a while. I don't know why that's changed. So I don't understand why they're devastated at that. I definitely have signed players under the age of 23 for the first team. Sign young players, develop for profit. They're satisfied with that. These are all favoured. Work within the wage budget is required. We are on course. Sign players to sell for profit, reserve and judgment, and favoured. Minimum of 3-year contracts for the first team players. So, right, I maybe misunderstood that. I thought they wanted specifically 3 years. But that, is what it is. Sell players before buying, preferred. They're not judging. Don't really understand. So, both of these are not judging. They're reserving judgment on that. So, with to reach the group stage of the Champions League as minimum requirement. Now, that's going to be hard. Win the Premier League. That's changed. Before it said they wanted me just to get into the Euro Cup when I discussed with them. But they now want me to win everything. And develop the best youth system in the country, which we are talking to them about. Develop the best youth system in the country. Required. Reserve and judgment. Win silverware. And this has changed. Between me, I saved this last night because I couldn't record. I came off the game and this was all qualified for the Euro Cup. Now I did go to my team meeting and say, let's go win the league. But, whatever. We've also requested, we can make bold requests here. I didn't even realize, I've been doing it through my finances this year because I did not see this bit. Rumoured that takeover offering from a consortium could be in the offing. I've been told it would take a very, very special bid from the last media situation. So scouts allowed, we've increased the percentage of transfer revenue. Obviously it said at the end of the last season that I'd done that. Increased junior coaching, they agreed to that, and increased physio wages. That was something they asked for, not what I asked for, but I'm planning on having a look at all my physios and redoing that. League wise, we've got 2 teams coming up this year, Dundee United, one of them, and let's see if we can work part of Thistle, the other. So, league changes a bit. We've got a very large squad. Reserves, we've got quite a lot of players that I still want to get out on loan. Might actually try and get Lowry out on loan while the other lad is not doing this because nobody's paying his wages, and that's the issue. Offered at club, see what they say. So I want to get him a loan. Angel Gomez, we're obviously trying to get out. Wouldn't mind getting this guy out, but he's on such a big wage that I don't want to pay it. It's on 3.2k. He's got a lot of potential, but he needs to get a loan. So by potential, we're down to here before we're out of 4 stars. That's pretty good. Acre Punt's potential seems to have dropped a bit. He is out on loan as well, of course. It's actually below his level. He's at Cove Rangers, who got promoted to League 2. And the under-18s, not quite as much potential there because I've promoted most people. But, still some decent options. Hampa wants to get out on loan, and he's really, really angry at me. I'm getting bids for him. Eventually I might just accept one of these bids, to be honest. Because he's unhappy, wants to go out on loan, but nobody is willing to loan him. Nathan Patterson, I kind of want to get him out on loan as well. What division's Airdrie in? Championship. Loan offer, see if they'll pay that. And on that note, guys, lots of business, so much to cover. Not been a game. This episode has run on for 40 minutes, so I apologise. It was supposed to be 20. Either way, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Hit like, hit subscribe, and I hope to catch you all next time.